rising on a worn-out town, paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night. Now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show. It's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hot true stars up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. It's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. By the water line, kids still laughing like nothing's changed. But there's a whole lot of talk on the screen these days, and not enough folks saying it face to face. We ain't perfect, never claimed to be, but we know what matters when the dust all clears. It's family, friends, and a little dignity, and standing strong through the years. Ain't about left, ain't about right. It's about showing up when it's time to fight. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, heart true stars up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. Sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. Ain't no filter, ain't no spin, just who we are and where we've been. If you fall down, we pull you up. That's the kind of country built on us. Let's get back to dirt roads, back porch lights, neighbors standing up, yeah, ready to fight. Cold beer, heart true stars up above, a little less talk and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a flag you fold. It's the way of life and a code we hold. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back, yeah, back to heart. Yeah, back to us. Woo. Back to us. Back to heart.
Good evening and welcome to Apex News Above the Noise. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Hey, Craig, how we doing tonight?
Doing good. Been busy all day today. Had an opportunity to meet the new KSU student president for next year.
Season. Yeah.
Yeah. Great conversation. And I think we've got him scheduled to come on Friday, May 1 on Apex News.
Well, that's fantastic. We actually, before we get into all of our stories, we should want to go ahead and tell everybody that Wednesday we will have John Hibbard, who is candidate for the county fiscal court. Then on Thursday, the big night, we are having a debate between the 3 Democrat candidates for sheriff here in Franklin County. And so it's first of its kind. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be, just really amazing.
It'll be real interesting.
And we want you folks to know that we really want you guys to go out of your way to send us questions and also to watch, because it's crucial. We know that people need to know this information, and we want that to get out. The other thing that I will say is that on Friday, maybe one of our funnest shows that we're going to have. We have two days back to back that are going to be great. But Friday we are going to have Jeff Waldridge, who is going to be our producer. He just had a baby though, so we're going to give him a little bit of grace. He didn't have a baby. His wife had a baby, so we're going to give him a little bit of grace. But on Friday, we are going to talk all things conspiracy theories. A couple things we're definitely going to talk about. We're going to talk about the show that he works on, the Sons of Appalachia, but also the big thing that you and he have been talking about all weekend in our group text is the 11 missing scientists and doctors over the
Yeah.
last 18 months that is really kind of mind blowing. Now the government's getting involved, and Jamie Comer and the House Oversight Committee are actually taking notice. And then of course we'll have to talk about Bigfoot and things of that nature. So I know you're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it'll be fun because there's been Bigfoot sightings in Anderson County, so we might as well. Jeff's up to speed on that, so that'll be a real interesting discussion.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And just so you guys know, we are sitting here just waiting for any updates that we might get on recruiting updates, and if we get those, we will let you know. I do have some breaking news. This just came across. Apple CEO Tim Cook is stepping down, and John Turnus will take his place as the head of the technology giant. That is just coming across the news wire right now. So for anybody who is following things of that nature, that's big news. If any recruiting information comes down the line while we are online here, I will let you guys know. But let's go ahead and one other bit of information before we get going. Aaron Bradshaw, former University of Kentucky member of our basketball team, is entering the portal again. He's entering from Memphis, and we will see if he can go 4 for 4 in 4 years with 4 different
4
schools.
for 4 being 4 schools in 4 years.
Right. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, we have some big news that could reshape the political landscape here in Kentucky. The race for governor in 2027 is already taking shape, and one of the most recognizable names in the state government has officially stepped into the spotlight. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman has announced she is running for governor of Kentucky, positioning herself as an early frontrunner on the Democrat side. Coleman, who has served alongside Governor Andy Beshear since 2019, expected to lean heavily on that administration's record, especially on education funding, economic development, and disaster response. Before entering statewide office, Coleman was a high school assistant principal and a basketball coach. That's big here in the state. A background she's consistently highlighted to connect with working families and educators across the Commonwealth. Her campaign's already signaling continuity with the Beshear administration, but also a push to define her own leadership, particularly when it comes to rural investment and workforce development. Now, politically, this sets up what could be a very competitive primary and general election. Republicans are expected to field a strong candidate or candidates, and early positioning like this probably matters. Craig, here is the big question that I'll throw to you. Does Jacqueline Coleman benefit from being tied to Beshear's success, or does she risk being defined by his administration?
She'll definitely be defined by his administration. And of course, we know her number one backers and the same ones that put Governor Beshear over the top for his second term will be the teachers union. Herself being a teacher and assistant principal, she's going to be leaning upon them heavily.
Absolutely.
So we'll hear a lot from the education side. I think that'll probably be her number one plank. It would be logical since she's a teacher and it's been such a focus of the administration. But then you've got the private school thing that the federal government's doing, that the legislature passed. So it's going to be a big education is going to be a big topic in this the next governor's election.
Well, it always is, and I think rightfully so. I mean, you can say what you want, but I mean the reality is that the teachers union is still very, very strong here. The teachers union essentially cost Matt Bevin being reelected. He
no doubt.
5,200 votes, and if you extrapolate that out, that's one vote in every precinct in the state of Kentucky. If he had turned, it would have changed that election. So obviously that is a big deal. The flip side of that is we live in a state that, while it has been red on the national side, the federal side, for decades, it has become, since 2016, a significantly more red state when it comes to state elections and things of that nature. Now we have a situation where we have a supermajority in the House and a supermajority in the Senate, but we had a Democrat governor who was essentially a backstop at this point for some major issues. But anything that's been passed in the last 8 years has been based upon what the legislature's whims are. So my question to you, Craig, is does Jacqueline Coleman have the ability to get elected knowing that number one, she has name recognition, but as I told you earlier today, I don't think 98% of the people in Kentucky could pick her out of a lineup. I honestly believe that. I don't believe that. Besides the name, and honestly, I think 50% of likely voters couldn't even tell you who the lieutenant governor is at this point.
I would bet if we did a man on the street interview,
100%.
I bet it would be 75% or maybe even 80% that don't know who our lieutenant governor is. Now, if you did it in Franklin County, yes, a whole lot of people.
Oh,
would.
yeah, totally different. We'd have
Whole
to
lot.
go. Yeah.
But if we went to McCracken County or Todd County or Pike County, completely different. It might be 90% that don't know who she is.
And so I guess the question is, is she jumping in early enough that people can learn who she is? I mean, she's gotten an awful lot of press today about this. But what does she have to do to become a valid candidate, knowing that she's the first one to jump in the race and no Republicans have announced at this point?
But she's valid because she's a lieutenant governor.
True. Very true.
But my question is, we've talked about for a couple of years, ever since the second term started with Governor Beshear, where's Rocky Atkins in this?
Oh, I agree.
We thought Rocky Atkins was playing himself to run for governor, but for her to come in this early, I wonder if there's an agreement that she would run, he would be her number two, or maybe he's going to run all on. It's so early, so much speculation. He might, be an opponent of hers in a primary.
Well, and that would be interesting, considering that Rocky is the chief advisor to the governor, and obviously he chose Jacqueline Coleman to be his running mate. So where do the loyalties lie? I think a lot has changed. I think a lot has changed simply because now the governor is focused a lot on moving his campaign forward to go into the presidential race. I don't think anybody thought that was serious until 2020, 2021, when we were still talking about Rocky Atkins.
Did you know Governor Beshear was in Michigan this weekend?
I only knew because I had a few people on my social media timelines that were not happy. I think it's a good way of putting it. I think one of the questions was, how much of our state dollars are being used for him to campaign?
Yeah, he got a lot. I made a post on my page, and there was those same questions. And, he bashed the president, which I just cannot understand why, because he's not running against Trump,
right?
In the primary, trying to build up his thing. And he was on Fox News yesterday, one of the Sunday shows. They brought it up and said, is Andy going to be like the Virginia governor, run as the moderate, which there are no Democrat moderates other than him for president? And then when he gets elected, if he gets elected, will he turn hard left like she has? Like the Virginia voters are, really upset with their governor.
Yeah.
And they're wondering, and they wondered yesterday on TV if Beshear would be the same way.
Well, I think we've already seen that he's willing to go far left. I mean, he went on, national television and talked about the fact that, the biblical principles of respecting the trans communities and, allowing, surgeries on children, sex change surgeries on children. And so I think he's already leaning into that. I mean, I think if you had told me 6 months ago that Gavin Newsom would be working his way to the middle and Andy Beshear would be moving his way to the left, I would be surprised.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's so far left, and it's hurting him badly. Plus the California economy is killing him. And I've said, I made a post a couple of months ago that if Beshear stays in the middle, and this was before he was even polling with enough margin to even be recognized. The last national poll we talked about last week I saw him at 4%, and Bill Clinton started out at 1%.
Right.
When he first hit the national polls. But Governor Beshear is pushing himself to the left. And I cannot understand that, because he could differentiate himself from Westmore, Josh Shapiro, Pritzker, and Newsom if he would stay in the middle. And he would get more press by staying in the middle than probably those other four combined.
I don't understand it, and maybe
left, and
maybe
that make no sense.
yeah, maybe some of the people watching this can answer for us, but I don't understand this desire to run to the left or the right far extremes, whether it's conservative or whether it's liberal. The idea used to be, as when you had President Clinton running, the most Republicans would vote for all of President Clinton's everything that he stood for,
Right.
all of his talking pieces at this point. But now it seems that everybody is genuinely pushing themselves all the way to the left or all the way to the right. And the problem is, I think people are getting tired of that. That's just me personally. Um, I I I I couldn't vote for extremes, but I think you get it from both ends. But with regard to the Democrat Party, it's way more pronounced at this point. Is that a
Oh,
fair statement?
huge. Yeah, and if Clinton didn't have that one little incident, he would have probably went down as the best president in the history of America at that time and beyond. Right now I think that mantle rests with Obama, but
Yeah. He does not have the prettiest library. I'll tell you that much.
boy,
Obama doesn't.
that looks like a prison out in
It's
California. I mean, gosh,
scary, isn't it?
Lee. Yeah,
Goodness
and
gracious.
but she, getting back to her, and following up with your first part of your question was her name ID.
Yep.
It's got to be low. Every lieutenant governor, it's not a slam on her. Every lieutenant governor's name ID is pretty low. But getting out this early, and if Governor Bashir, as he's out of Kentucky running for president potentially, she take over more of his duties and get more of his press stuff on the Louisville and Lexington TV stations, and then share it out around Kentucky. That might help her with free media. But we'll pay attention. You and I'll pay attention to see if she starts popping up in more events around Kentucky.
Yeah,
where the
and
media's at.
yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that she is doing this, and I've seen her at a bunch of events lately. But once you get somebody like an Allison Ball or a Jamie Comer, or you start getting names thrown in there. I think there's several other Republicans that would consider it. Once you start getting those names in, boy, it's going to be hard to compete with people who are on Fox News every night and on CNN every
Right.
night. I mean, I have always had this thought that I did have this thought that Scott Jennings would get into the Senate race. Shocked that he hasn't.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but if he hasn't, is it because he's waiting on a race for governor? And Scott Jennings has a large number of folks. I think Jamie Comer obviously has a large number of followers. I think other folks that have run before, whoever loses the Senate race, I think there'll be at least one of those that comes out of there that will probably run for governor. I don't know who else runs on the Democrat side unless Rocky runs against Jacqueline Coleman.
That's the only other one I've thought about it today. That's the only one I thought that would have an opportunity to beat her. And I still don't know that he could, even though he was a basketball star in Moorhead and he pretty much owns Eastern Kentucky. But how many people west of Franklin County even know who Rocky Atkins is? Because he was a state rep out of there, a leadership out of there.
Yeah.
But never anything West Kentucky. West Kentucky's hard Republican.
Well, it is hard Republican, and if as anyone who's followed Kentucky politics on election night, as things happen, it doesn't matter what that first poll closing at 7 p.m. is. It's that second poll closing at 8 p.m. that pushes everybody, over the edge. And as a good example, Matt Bevin didn't win until the very end in the primary, and then in his first, and then when he ended up running in the general, he ended up winning late in the night as well. So
right.
I think that it's going to be hard for a Democrat to win the governor's seat, but this state has only elected 2 Republicans in the last 60 years. So I mean, it would, and even then they only elected 2, and then you had Louis Nunn, and then I can't think of any others prior to that. So I mean, you're talking.
No, I think Louis Nunn was the first.
Yeah, so you're talking 3 Republicans in 160 years, and so 12 years out of 160. I don't know, but whoever it is, they better be ready to work. I mean, even if it's a Democrat, we got to get some things done in this state. We have to get education squared away. We have to get uh, the growth and poverty issues handled. We have to get the issues with opioid addiction. We have to deal with these things, and I don't know that anybody is genuinely up to that task that is announced at this point.
Yeah, I just wish they would start locating businesses in eastern Kentucky.
I mean,
We've hit the central part of the state and western part of the state, and I know it's tough to build in the mountains, but there's this stuff called dynamite. You can level mountains if the environmentalists get out of the way.
well, you can't.
And then provide good, high-paying jobs for all the people of eastern Kentucky.
Well, you can't say it's impossible to build in the mountains when you have places like Colorado and Utah and
Yeah, Denver a mile
southern,
up. Yeah.
Middle of near Lake Tahoe, near the California border, Seattle. There are mountains, all over the country,
Yeah.
and they've been able to build around them. Pikeville's a beautiful town, but there's only so much investment that has gone in there.
Yeah.
So
Eastern Kentucky would be prime for data centers, and data centers don't bring a lot of jobs, but they bring a pile of tax money, property tax money.
they do,
Just
and
massive volumes of them.
there's one currently up near Maysville, I think, that they're trying to get through, and I think there's a family that's sitting on about 150 acres that has
Yeah.
turned down millions and millions of dollars. We'll
20-some
talk,
million. Yeah.
yeah, we'll
I
talk
got
about.
smoked. I got smoked on Facebook for that one.
Doesn't
I made a post about it, and I got obliterated from Eastern Kentucky on why those folks wouldn't sell. That's generational money that they're sitting on, and for some reason, they wouldn't sell their land, and they don't look rich. They could be fooling.
No,
me.
they
But
could
what?
be, but even if they aren't, I mean, $20 million changes an entire, not just your family, it changes your legacy, and
Right. Yeah.
you know, it's-
Generational money. 2 or 3 generations of money that if they manage right, it could be 5 or 6 generations of money.
and farming's not easy. So I mean, God bless the
No.
farmers in this country. I was with one of my buddies who's a farmer today, and he got kicked in the face by a bull last night and broke his nose.
Oh
And
my.
I thought, better you than me, buddy. But
Right.
God bless the farmers in this town. Anybody watching us that in this country that is a farmer, we greatly appreciate it. We turn now to escalating tensions in the Middle East, where the situation in the Strait of Hormuz is once again rattling global markets. As of late this afternoon, shipping through the Strait of Hormuz has effectively ground to a halt. Reports show that 3 ships passed through in a 12-hour window, compared to normally 120 plus in daily crossings. This comes after a volatile weekend that included the U.S. forces seizing an Iranian cargo vessel and Iran responding with threats and warning shots, putting a fragile ceasefire on the brink. And here's why this matters. Roughly 20% of
Whoops, sorry about that.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Hit the wrong key.
All
Jump her
okay.
off of there.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Sorry.
Approximately, the reason this matters is approximately 20% of the world's oil supply moves through that single choke point, and when it tightens, the entire global economy feels it. Markets reacted immediately. Oil prices surged hard today. Brent crude jumped roughly 5 to 6%, hitting about $95 a barrel. U.S. crude spiked nearly 7% to about $89. That's not theoretical. That's gasoline prices knocking on your door next. When crude jumps like that, it typically hits the pump within days. Analysts are already warning that continued disruption could push oil towards $100 a barrel, which would almost certainly drive higher gas prices. Before we talk about the stock market, Craig, let me just ask this question. At some point, the threat of gas prices going up has to be a misnomer, because the crude oil prices right now are actually lower than they were prior to this entire Iranian conflict, and yet our gas prices are still up. I mean, they're higher than we're used to. And by the way, for those of you wanting to know, the highest point of the average national gas average during the Trump administration, these first 2 years, is still $1 lower than the Biden administration's highest national gas average.
And did anybody freak out? Did the
Nobody
national
did.
media freak out during that time when it was an inflation-driven price versus a war-driven price?
It was transitory inflation.
Yeah.
If you remember, I mean,
Yeah,
they were
yeah, right.
changing the
Transitory.
definition of what.
Yeah, 25% transitory inflation over 4 years.
Yeah, right. So I think the The reality is that, yeah, I mean, prices may go up, but we're still already at or below where we were before this conflict started, and they still haven't gone down to where they were. So this idea that it could push $100 again, okay, we were at 110. Like like the price
Right.
of gas shouldn't go up anymore because we were
And
already dealing with that.
and remember when the war started, when we first hit Iran, trying to say it the correct way,
It's all right. You
they
get a
were
point every time you do
predicting
it right.
$200 a barrel.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
it topped out at 114, now to 87 or whatever it is.
Emma Kate Thompson, face.
Sorry
Hello,
about that.
Emma.
Yeah, everybody say hi to Emma.
But so it's not, it's doom and gloom predictions, because that's what the news media does now. They live off doom and gloom. It never hits what they say, but it sure scares the crap out of everybody.
Well, and I think the other interesting part about this is nobody is willing to admit that the values, while tied some way tangentially to crude oil, are all just chosen out of the air somewhere by these gas cartels. It's so clear and obvious at this point that that's what happens. I mean, they jump it 40 cents when the price of crude oil doesn't do exactly that. It's
Goes up $2 a barrel, they'll
yeah,
jump at 30 cents. Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. So I think that's the problem that nobody truly wants to address, is that we have opportunistic people taking advantage of the American people.
There's got to be price gouging in there. I understand. We looked it up the other day. If the wells that are producing, the oil companies need between $50 and $60 to make a profit. If they're out hunting land and just looking for oil, then what was it, 70 to 85 a barrel for them to make a profit, to make it worthy of doing it. And then shale oil is in between both of those, up the Permian Basin, up north and South Dakota. And it's in the $68 range down to $60 range. So there's three different levels. You never know what's going on, but the oil companies have to be taking advantage of any crisis, anything that happens in the Middle East, that they can jack the price up 30 or 40 or 50 cents a gallon overnight.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I believe it's opportunistic entrepreneurship as opposed to actual market-driven amounts. And I know that people have commented on our stuff on social saying that no, it's completely supply demand. You didn't take economics in college if you believe that, because it's not supply or demand driven. And by the way, when people say, oh, but we're selling all of our stuff now in the United States, and then that's less money, or that's less oil that we have, so that there's less supply, so our costs are going to go up. That's not how it works either.
No, because we have what's called heavy crude. I'm sorry. We have what's called sweet crude in America, except our refineries are built for Venezuelan and Canadian heavy crude, because various presidents have stopped the drilling of oil on both coastlines and inside America and in the Gulf of America. And now Trump has green lighted, and the Congress or whatever environmental people they got to go through has green lighted a $300 billion sweet crude refinery, the first new refinery in over 40 years in Brownsville, Texas, which it'll take it probably 10 years to get built. I hope I'm still around, but it will alleviate any crisis in the future, because instead of selling the oil on the world market, because we don't have refineries literally that cannot refine it, we'll be able to refine our oil and say, the heck with what's going on over there in the Middle East. We'll have our own supply of oil.
Well, and you have to control the Don Rowe doctrine, as they call it. That controlling the Western Hemisphere is really going to make a difference.
Yeah,
there
we
too.
got Venezuela sitting on the the number one highest confirmed barrels, and the fourth highest estimated barrels. And if we can get it like it was before Maduro and all those guys took over in the last 15 years, they were the number 4 economy on the planet.
Yeah,
and it was a great country. And then the communists take over, and of course the communists and socialists take over, and boom, they hit the dirt.
Well, Craig,
Yeah.
Well, Craig, you know that socialism just has never been done correctly,
Yeah.
right?
Find one place it's worked. Find one
yeah,
place.
they've just never run it right. I don't know how many times I've heard that, and now it's not socialism, it's Democrat socialism, which is
Right.
totally different. It has the same
That's
fundamental
political
purposes.
speak. That's just
Yeah.
political speak. That's all it is.
And look what's happening in New York City right now, and you have people fleeing to get out of there, so they're taxing the people who are staying, and then you have the governor saying come back to New York. Why would you do that? Why? It doesn't work. It never works. I'm getting
Right.
off topic, but investors didn't like what they saw today either. The S&P 500 dipped about 0.2%. The Nasdaq snapped a 13-day winning streak. European markets dropped closer to 1% across the board. They're always a little bit more nervous and tenuous. But here's the twist. Energy companies actually surged. And this is my point. This is actually my point right here. Oil giants like BP and Shell saw gains as higher crude prices boosted their outlook. So again, give me that garbage that it's all tied to it. The real concern isn't just today. It's what happens next. Nearly 260 oil tankers are currently stuck in the region. Millions of barrels of oil are effectively trapped, and even if the strait reopens, experts say it could take months or even years to fully normalize supply. And with peace talks now uncertain and the ceasefire set to expire in just days, the risk of escalation is very real. Last we heard is that Vice President J.D. Vance is on his way to Islamabad, and the Iranians have said that they are considering, this is just 50 minutes ago off the AP wire, they are considering withdrawal from peace negotiations. Now, this is a very good example of bluster without a backup. And I truly believe that the people in power for Iran are not, they do not care about the general welfare of their citizens. Not at all. Not even a little bit. And after talking to Farzad the other day, it even solidifies that. I believe that they are willing to sacrifice their entire population to try to stay in power. And they know that the negotiations that are being at least stalled at this point all hang on the idea that they will never have nuclear weapons. They will never have the ability to strike any of their neighbors again. And to some extent, there needs to be a regime change. The IRGC is there cannot be the type of.
Well, there was some news today on the IRGC. Not meaning to interrupt, but
Sure.
An IRGC commander has taken over. He's kicked the moderates out. That's why he's saying there will not be any negotiations.
Yeah.
But it was around noontime, and he's taken over. He's the one that authorized the attacks on the Indian oil, I don't know if it was a cargo ship or an oil tanker. I don't know which one it was, but he ordered that. He's chased the moderates out. He's ended the negotiations where they're going to Islamabad in Pakistan, or Pakistan, however you say it. Iran's not going to show up as of 12 o'clock today. Now, it might change. 2C TV popped on just as we were going on at 5 o'clock, saying that the IRGC has caved to Trump. But, we'll have to watch that after our podcast. So there's tons of misinformation out there. But Fox News showed a picture of the commander that is running things now since the Ayatollahs disappeared, mangled, whatever, from the initial bombings. So there's so much going on, and Trump has again threatened to blow up all the power facilities and every bridge in Iran. So we're on the verge. Now, China has said they have not been sending stuff to Iran, but then other news agencies are quoting, or without quoting China, are saying China's feeding them radars and stuff that will track our jets. But of course, they were already in Venezuela, and obviously they didn't work there.
Yeah, the interesting thing about what China says is they're very particular in the way they say things. So they said in a letter from Xi Jinping to President Trump over the weekend, he said, "We are not providing weapons, and we will not provide weapons to the IRGC." But the argument, I'm sure, that's out there is, well, we didn't say anything about radar. We didn't say anything about defending themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the splitting of hairs. And legalistically, it's what I do all the time. As soon as I heard that, as soon as they said, well, we're not providing weapons, I thought, yeah, but like, what's the next step? Like, you're obviously providing radar, which is, also going to be there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
targeting radar.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is here. I don't think threatening that you're going to knock out all of the utilities, power, water, all these things. I don't know that it means anything. I honestly don't. I think
Well, it could, because before, anytime a foreign adversary would threaten the USA, we would always back down because we fought wars for headlines. Think back, if we fought World War II based on the headlines after we we flattened Germany, killed hundreds
yeah,
of thousands of civilians. Think if that happens today, the media goes crazy
yeah.
because we have not fought a war since World War II to win. This administration has got generals and commanders and leaders in there that are fighting to win, just like ISIS during Trump's first term. Obama said it would take over 5 years to get rid of them. He turned General Raisin Cain loose, and he said it would take 6 weeks, and it took about 3. He wiped ISIS out because the commanders were allowed to do what they're trained to do.
Well,
Now, Iran, Trump might follow through on this. And if he does, then we'll rebuild Iran like we do everybody else. And it'll be a short term, but it will stop all the terrorism funding across the world. It'll stop Iran getting nuclear weapons. And like the UN Secretary General said last week on an English interview, when he was asked if the world is safer because of what America's done to Iran, he said absolutely yes.
yeah, obviously the 24-hour news cycle is powerful when it comes to wanting to win wars based upon politics. That's just simply doesn't work. Nobody else does that anymore. But the West wants to, because we want to justify everything we do, and sometimes war. And for those of you who said, we're bringing in war, even though Trump said he's not going to have war. At some point you have to stand up to bullies. You do,
Yeah.
and these are the biggest bullies in the world. And I will tell you right now, we will never have peace, world peace. It's just never going to happen. For the last 8,000 years of human existence, 6,000, whatever, when we've had written history, there has never been a time of world peace, because it's human nature to want more territory and more power. It is what it is. But what this does is it prevents the United States from being the target of attacks, and our allies in the West from being the targets of attacks, which is all we want. If we can't have world peace, at least we could have safety and security throughout the Western world. The industrialized first world nations. That's all we can ask for.
And when this is done, we'll focus on our hemisphere again.
Absolutely.
We'll build better relations because of that with China. Ukraine and their grain farmer soldiers have proven Russia is a paper tiger. All Russia's got is nukes. And I'll bet you if Russia didn't have the nukes, Ukraine would have taken over Russia after the attack, because them boys know how to fight.
Well, one of the reasons, and I saw a very good interview about this, but one of the reasons that Russia doesn't want to fire the nukes is they don't know that they work. They've been in the ground there for 60 years. They don't know. There's some indication that they have tried to fire test flights without warheads, and they have blown up in the silos.
Exactly.
There's all sorts of risks like that they don't want to take either. And the United States, giving $1 trillion to their government, to their military every year, we update those systems, and we update our missiles and all of these things. They don't have the money to do that, because once again, socialism sucks. You don't have the ability to pay for those things.
And as Biden's administration said, as their generals back then said, by us, when we were given tens of billions of dollars worth of military equipment to Ukraine, said it was getting our antiquated stuff out and allowed to replace it with modern stuff. And then Trump comes in next year's military budget. He has said he's going to ask, like it was $986 billion this year. Next year, he's going to ask for $1.5 billion to build more subs.
1.5 trillion. 1.5 trillion.
1.5 trillion. Sorry. Yeah. Big number. more subs, more nuclear subs, and one or two more aircraft carriers, and then try to get back. I watch this stuff all the time, but get back in the frigate class,
Yeah.
because we have 0 frigates right now, and more battleships, because with the laser technology and all the new modern weapons that we're testing out now, but then outfit them once we get all the bugs worked out and they work, put them on every ship we got, every battleship and every carrier.
You and
that
I
we
need to
have.
you and I need to do a reaction video. I've seen one. I'm sure you've seen the same one where it shows the size of the U.S. military and
Oh, yeah.
Navy and Army and Air Force versus the other countries in the world. You know, we have the top 2 air forces in the world. You know, so it dwarfs the other countries, even
I
Russia
would
and
love
China.
to talk about. I'd love to talk about that, because, I've always joked that we could send 2 Boy Scout troops to Canada and just take over the whole country,
Yeah, absolutely
because
good.
they're sited by 3 oceans, Pacific, Atlantic, and the Arctic,
Arctic. Yep.
and they have a minuscule navy. And what's worse though is Great Britain used to run the seas, used to be the most powerful navy on the planet.
Absolutely.
Now, 90% or more of their military naval vessels are in dry dock getting repaired.
And
This would
and
be
who,
this would be a great topic.
yeah, we'll have to do that. Maybe we'll bring on my buddy who is in the National Guard. We could discuss that with him. That'd be good. Breaking news right now: Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRaymer is leaving the Trump administration. The White House has just announced.
I don't know nothing about her.
Let's shift to the hardwood, because it's a very active and honestly volatile stretch for Kentucky, the Kentucky Wildcat men's basketball program. This is where things stand as of late this afternoon. Kentucky has made progress, but they're also taking some real hits in the battles here. We have locked down Zoom Diallo and Alex Wilkins. Our backcourt, at least we have a backcourt, right? We have 2 solid
Yeah.
guards that can play. Wilkins averaged nearly 18 points per game last season, gives Kentucky an immediate scoring threat. Where we're lacking, as you can see, in the front court. And I think this is what's got a number of folks concerned. I have a little bit of breaking news before we get into some of the other names, that it appears that Donnie Freeman, the name that everybody has been sitting around waiting
Yeah.
for, including myself, that he is down to 2 teams. That it's not Tennessee anymore. It's not any of the other schools. It's
What's the other team? Because it's going to shock people.
St. John's.
Right.
And
Patino.
Rick Pitino, Ed 2, Rick A. You know, it's like
Yeah.
he has come along and he's ready to snatch
Yeah.
this guy up.
Yeah,
And,
it's lesson time for Patino to Pope.
Yeah, and so my understanding is that St. John's has made an offer, and it is about $400,000 difference than what UK has offered per year. It is time, in my opinion, to pony up. Do not be outbid by St. John's. Now, I'll also say this, and a buddy of mine posted this. This is for you, Troutman. He mentioned today, hey, somebody needs to explain to this kid that if you play in St. John's in New York City, you're going to be paying about 60% of your total money that you're getting in taxes.
Right.
So you can make that $1 million, and it's still, you're still going to pay $600,000 of that in taxes. So if we're $400,000 off, we're really only about $150,000 off when it comes to the tax rate.
Yeah, I don't know why any pro player plays in New York or California. California, you lose almost 60% of your salary. And same thing in New York. And if it's New York City, which I believe St. John's is in the New York City area,
Yep.
Mondami's raising taxes at every opportunity because they're broke. So him going up there can only be for one thing. It's be Pope versus Pitino.
Well, and
Patino's proven. Pope's getting, working through his thing now. So if he goes up there, I think it'll only be for being coached by Pitino.
Well, and I don't know how much of this is actually being used to simply get a hard number a little higher from the University of Kentucky. I mean, I'm absolutely shocked by the fact that I've got I've got nothing blue check mark associated from anybody saying that, UK is close to signing Freeman. I think this is, or that St. John's is all that close. I think all of this is trying to get a little bit more money out. Now, I could be completely wrong about that.
Yeah.
Donnie Freeman would be a great addition to St. John's. They are a physical style program. But again, you are in Queens, in Jamaica, Queens, where St. John's is, and you're paying 60% of your income in taxes. So somebody needs to explain that to this kid.
Well, that's a great, I hadn't thought of that. That's a great point, because that's something we can talk to our legislature about, to keep dropping our state tax lower and lower, is so that we can get better college athletes at all our universities. Because it don't matter if LeBron James is working for, getting 60 million a year, but he's really probably only taking home about 28.
Right. And it's like Juan Soto, player for the Mets right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's making $58 million a year playing baseball, and he's only probably taking home about 20 once you pay your agent, once you pay your taxes, once you pay your attorneys on top of your agents. You're taking 20 million. Listen, 20 million is a ton of money, but when you're talking these huge numbers that are coming out here, if you're not in, like, say, Oklahoma City, or you're not in a state, Miami, a state that doesn't have a state income tax, that's real money. And at this point, these athletes are going to have to start making decisions based on that.
Well, look at all the billionaires that are leaving California and Texas. In New York. That money's money, whether it's 60 million a year or it's 50,000 a year, it's still tax money. And do you want to give most of it away so it can be given to other people? Redistributed wealth through the Democrat socialism.
Absolutely.
So it makes no sense to me at all why pro athletes, I had never thought about NIL, college athletes in this state. But as I see legislators at the restaurant, I'm going to bring that up. That is a great talking point, because most of them are sports fans, either for UK or U of L.
Well, and how many times have you and I talked about, we got to bring in a pro team? We have some semi-pro teams. We need a pro team in Louisville, and what is better for pro athletes than saying, hey, you get to keep more money coming in here. You could have guys who are lobbying to take less on a total package, knowing that they're going to get to keep more than if they signed a bigger deal in LA or New York or Chicago, these other places. It's going to end up killing some of these locales. And the Bears situation right now in Chicago is a great example of that.
Oh boy, you ain't kidding.
Politics has gotten in the way of these legendary, amazing franchises, and it's killing them. It is absolutely going to crush them. And now you're going to have players that are going to be like, hey, listen, I'm on my big contract right now. Wandale Robinson, he goes to Nashville. He's going to make zero state income tax. That is a big deal. The New York Giants could have offered him more money, but he could take less because he gets to keep less. Think about that.
And fortunately, he didn't have to take less. But playing for the Giants, I think just the one New York City tax is like 11.3%, not counting the state tax and all the others.
Yeah.
Just by going to Tennessee, he got 11% raise on top of the new salary that he's got. You're talking millions of dollars that he's going to be able to put in the bank just off of tax savings.
Yeah. So it's on a $70 million deal. 10%. There's a 10% state tax. There's a 4.9% New York City tax. That's 15% right there.
Yeah.
So do the math. You just saved yourself like $12 million. That's real money. That's real money.
Serious money. Yeah. And he's going to laugh all the way to the bank.
Why would anybody play for the Knicks or the Giants? Besides the fact that they're terrible, teams, or the Jets. Who would play for the Jets right now?
Right. When Luka went from Texas with 0% to the Lakers, I know, it's rigged. It cost him an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Just based on taxes. But, again, another sports discussion. How about we go through the players and You
Yeah,
tell us the information you got.
hit me with it.
I'll start with Freeman.
Yep.
He's Syracuse. The stuff I saw as we were getting ready today said that St. John's has the upper hand. I know it's all over the place. I looked for verified stuff, but this one was from KSR.
Yeah,
KSR said that. So tell us
well,
about Freeman.
I think to start off with, I think that when you say they offered more money, they're obviously in the driver's seat. Whether that he takes it or not, you got to say they're in the driver's seat. Honestly, I think ultimately he ends up at Kentucky. But let me tell you about Donnie Freeman. This guy's 6'9". He's listed at 205 pounds. He plays bigger than that. He's looks like he's about 225, but he is agile. This guy has a mid-range jumper. One of the things you never see anymore, a mid-range jumper.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a little bit of a jump hook that he's got as well. 16.5 points per game, 7.2 rebounds a game, even 1.3 assists this last season as a sophomore. This kid's only 20 years old. So I think that's the really crazy part about all of this, that he is not just a good get, he would be a great get. And you pair him up with Malachi Moreno, who, by the way, is, averaging 6 points and, 5 rebounds or something. But you get, if he's not the only big guy on the floor that has to get the rebounds and or be able to do anything down low, a lot of love to Mo Diabate. The guy tried. He doesn't have the offensive skills. He can get some rebounds and things. This guy has offensive skills. Donnie Freeman is a playmaker and could play in the NBA right now.
Yeah. And next on the list that I've got is we talked about him last week, was 7'5", Gabe Dines, Dynes.
Yeah, Gabe Dines is an interesting one because he played at the University of Southern Cal. He only averaged 2.4 points per game, but Craig, this guy is 7'5".
What's he weigh?
About 230 pounds. So he's not. I mean, he's not enormous.
He's not big. Yeah.
But you talk about shot changing. This guy is it. I think that at the end of the day, you're not looking at a guy who's impact right away, but you're talking about a guy who's gonna. If you have guys down low who are shooters, he's gonna change a ball game. If you get two. He may get 2 blocks a game, but he's altering 10 shots.
Right. Yeah. And how great would it be for Moreno to have when it's his turn for a break, that you go from a 7-footer to a 7'5" guy.
Yeah.
With a massive wingspan, and all he's got to do is just be there, just stand in the middle.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to lift his hands up, which, by the way, he can dunk without jumping. So I mean, the other great thing about this is that he's from Independence, Kentucky. So you have a kid who is a local guy. We whiffed on the Jake Feldhouse thing. UK never went after him, so you can't really say it's a whiff. But I think a lot of folks in Kentucky would have liked to have had a guy like that. We already have Trent Noah, but I think with Gabe Dines, you have a guy much like Mara at UCLA and transferring over to Michigan. Mara only averaged, maybe 4 points and 10 minutes a game for UCLA. Comes to Michigan and becomes a world beater. You can't teach size. So the guy
literal world beater.
Yeah, and so
NCAA champion.
Yeah, and he will end up playing in the NCAA. I mean, in the NBA without question. So good coaching will help you, but 3 points a game. He shot 80% from the field. That's just a really good starting place for University of Kentucky to have a guy come off the bench like that. And by the way, you're going to have Braden Hawthorne coming off the bench as well. So,
but we got another front court player from mid-major James Madison, Justin McBride. What do you got on him?
Justin McBride is probably my favorite guy out of this group that's coming to check out the Wildcats this week. He is going to be a senior, so we only get one season out of this guy. But 15.3 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 1.5 assists. He shot 50% from the field. From 3-point, you're going to love this, Craig. He shot 40% from the three. So this guy can fill up a stat sheet, which is he also had 1.5 assists, which is great. You need guys that are not afraid of mixing it up. He averaged 2.5 fouls a game. I know a lot of people don't look at that stat, but that's a big deal. last year he did average about 1.8 turnovers a game. Not great, but he was the center of attention. He handled the ball all the time. But as a forward, he's a scoring forward. And if you were to add, think about with the backcourt that we have right now with Wilkins and Diallo, you have 33 points, 9 rebounds, or 9 assists, and about 7 rebounds. If you could add Donnie Freeman and Justin McBride, that's another 32 points, Craig. I mean, so now you have guys
Yeah.
who have averaged 65 points between them, and I haven't even brought in Cam Williams or, dare I say it, a Tyron Stokes or something like that. So this is a big deal. You're looking at a team that has the same genetic makeup of what Michigan looked like last year.
Right. And with Cam Williams coming in and he'll get some legitimate minutes this year, I think we'll see a big improvement in him that will help on the wing also.
Yeah.
Next on the list that I found today is, I know zero about this guy. He's from Yale, Isaac Seliskar, if that's how you pronounce it right.
That's actually a pretty good job. This guy is 6'6". He's 210 pounds. He was a sophomore last year, so he's got 2 years of eligibility. Quietly has entered the mix as somebody that UK really wants. He is a forward at 6'6", more of a swing guy. 13.2 points, 6.3 rebounds. All of a sudden, you're talking about, if this is your sixth man coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, your sixth man averaged 13 points. Now, again, he was at an Ivy League. I get it. I know that they weren't even all that good last year, but you're talking about a guy who is banging against other bodies, and he had 1.9 personal fouls, 1.3 turnovers. He shot 80% from the free throw line and 40.7% from 3-point line. I mean, those numbers get you pretty excited.
Whether it's mid-major or an Ivy League, anything like that, if they can hit the basket and score, it doesn't matter what level you are. If you're a shooter and you can score, then within the coaching frame, you'll get your shots off. And if you're shooting at 40% at Yale, you'll shoot 40% in the SEC.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss, is that you have guys right now who all we're looking at, are they 7 feet tall and can they shoot 48% from the 3-point line? I just want a guy who can hit a mid-range jumper. Give me 12, 14 points a game where I'm losing 6 to 8 points with Captain Clutch. It's a good trade. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah. And then last is one we've talked about before also, who would be another great get, is Devin Williams.
Yeah, Devin Williams is another guy that a lot of people are talking about. He shot 51% from the field last year. He's listed as a sophomore. I think there's a question whether he will get to redshirt his freshman year. I think that's still in question. So at least 2 years of eligibility left. 7.5 points per game, 5 rebounds a game. He's 6'10", 205 pounds. Need to put a little muscle on this guy, but he is not afraid to get in there. He's got 2 fouls a game. Again, 2.6 blocks a game, Craig.
Right.
On
Plus
top
how
of
many directional changes.
Yeah. Plus 1.3 assists. A big man, a 6'10" guy that can pass the ball all over the place as an assist guy. I mean, get out of here with that. That's fantastic. You have passers, rebounders, and guys who are willing to take shots with this group. Now, is UK going to get all these guys? Absolutely not. Now, I mean, I don't think there's any way maybe they get 2 of these guys, but I do think that it's very possible that, and I think Terrence Brown's going to come in. There's a chance that we get him to solidify the backcourt as well. That would be great. But this front court area, these 4 guys that we're looking at in the front court, you got to sign 2 of those. You got to sign 2. And if you sign those 2,
offset Marino,
you need 2 of those guys in the front court, and then you sit back and you play the betting game with Tyron Stokes.
And we would be a tall team.
For the first time in a while.
What you described, And then the one that I think the fans have grown ridiculously tired of is Tyron Stokes. Even though there was some high school tournament this weekend, I mean, AAU tournament or whatever it was.
Yeah, he teased that he was going to announce on TV, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, and he got MVP of that. But I think the fans are just tired of because it's all about the money. I think the fans are they're getting worn out by Tyree and Stokes talk.
I think they are, and I want to tell the fans that listen. I know you're tired of the Donnie Freeman talk, and you were tired of, when we were talking about losing guys last week. These are not whiffs, on all fronts. A lot of it's just money. I mean, a lot of it is just I want to play for this coach. I want to get more money. All those things, and I just it's not always a whiff. Maybe they end up going to, I don't know, a lower tier school. But if they're the only guy at that lower tier school making $8 million or something crazy on NIL, then God bless them. Go for it. Knock yourself out. Now, I do think we're getting into that nervousness area when the kid signed with Florida State. Now we're kind of like all in on the Donnie Freeman watch list. And if it's $400,000, throw another $500,000 at the kid. Explain to him the tax. Maybe explain to his agent the tax thing. Some of these agents are idiots too. Just do the very basics. On the flip side, you've got guys like Will Stein who are locking it down right now when it comes to recruiting.
Football is going to be exciting, isn't it? It's going to be so exciting.
Anybody that watched this weekend the Impact plays there at the blue-white game, the spring game, let me just point out, none of his starting offensive line played, and none of his specialty players were there to catch balls, and it was still exciting. So
it was
get ready.
There were some hard hits, wasn't there? Did you see?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were working for playing time.
Yeah, and I think that over the next 6 months, there's going to be so much hype. Well, 5 months, there's going to be so much hype. But listen, I think what happened at Indiana gives real hope to programs like the University of Kentucky. I think it is a strong indicator that the portal, while we all hate it and we all want to go back, it can change a program overnight. And
Michigan.
Again, Michigan, they were 8-24. I mean, a team that wins the national championship 2 years before, they were 8-24. Not good at all. And that was not a loaded Big Ten that year. So you can turn it around, and Mark Pope can turn it around. And I'm happy to think that Will Stein's going to turn around. Listen, you play 9 SEC games now at the University of Kentucky. You have to play 9 regular season SEC games. You got to be ready to play, because just going 5-4 now isn't going to be easy. It's not.
No, and with the excitement he brings in from the Oregon offense.
I know you're about to jump out of your skin. You're so excited. The quick passes and everything.
Yeah, the pass. It's going to be an offense. I hope it's Hal Mummy type of. It won't be literal Hal Mummy type offense,
right,
where it's 99% passing. But I hope it's 70% passing.
They get to the line quick. They snap that ball. They get things moving, which is a lot of fun. And I told somebody today, it's like Hal Mummy, but with a defense. I mean, Hal Mummy scored a lot of points, and he gave up a ton of points. But they're just as focused, if not more, on the defensive side, and it is fun to watch. And I think that we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't think you'll find any football tickets laying on the parking lot because people can't give them away.
No, I don't. I think it's going to be a lot different than how it has been in the last couple of years. One of the things that people, I even had some buddies contact me and say, my season tickets didn't go up a ton. Like I thought they were going to do it. So I was actually shocked about that as well. So good for Coach Stein, and we'll see what else he does. I think getting the students involved again, like he already has, and getting the excitement together, I think that's going to be fun. I'm
think about if Pope can get the UK basketball thing lined out, we'll have women's basketball going great, men's basketball going great, and UK football going great. That will be just year-round stuff.
Women's volleyball, baseball is competing.
The lesser sports we're already good at. Olympians, we produce Olympians.
Yeah, swimmers and gymnasts. Shout out to all my gymnastics friends that were at the University of Kentucky when I was there.
I was going to say, you got gymnastic friends now.
Go Gym Cats, yeah. Well, I will also say this, that again, I've said this on previous broadcasts, but the people who dog on Mitch Barnhart, you are missing the forest for the trees. That guy, you're just focusing on football and basketball, and I realize those are the big revenue sports, and we've still been good during his time. We even won a national championship in basketball.
Yeah.
But those other sports, those hundreds, thousands of athletes who have graduated while also making us competitive. We've won tons of national championships. That's just something to be proud of, and I think it's a legacy that, especially in women's sports, that we need to be proud of at the University of Kentucky. Something we did not have 25 years ago. We did not have a legacy like we do now.
Yep, I agree.
So, well, I want to make sure that I ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Obviously, if we get any news, I will jump on at least, and maybe Craig will join me. I'm still checking the Donnie Freeman sweepstakes. Nothing yet, but we will let you guys know. Wednesday, we have our friend John Hibbert will come on probably for the whole show. Thursday, we're going to have the sheriff's.
Tell us who
candidates.
John is, please.
John Hibbert is running for the fiscal court. Is he the 6th? Fifth district. Sorry about that, John. He's running for the fifth district magistrate for the Franklin County Fiscal Court. Great guy. Went to college with him at the University of Kentucky. He's also a big UK fan. We send snarky stuff back and forth all day long. And then Thursday is going to be the big night with the candidates. Really looking forward to that. Make sure you join us and ask us to ask certain questions. We're really looking forward to that. And it's going to be first of its kind. They're going to get to answer all the questions and take their time. Obviously, we can't do it all night long, but we'll have a set number of questions. But we want them to get their full thoughts out, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then Friday night, the fun one, we'll have Jeff on here talking to us about all the crazy things going on in the world of conspiracy theories. So anything else, Craig, you want to?
Well, next Friday, the following Friday,
Yep.
May 1st, I want to, and we will start focusing on Kentucky State University in Frankfort, Kentucky. We're going to have the next year's student body president on. I had lunch with him today with Dr. Stratton, the acting chair of the business school, for almost 2.5-hour discussion. State Representative Dan Pfister came in and had lunch with us.
Representative Pfister said he'll come on and talk with us as well.
We'll get Senator Pfister on, and then Colonel from the National Guard, Kevin Jones, stopped by and was introduced to him. And then two former greats of Frankfort was Warner Keynes from the plant board, and then Herbie Bannister. So they had, as we were leaving, as I was leaving, run to make the deposit to the bank, they were out in the parking lot talking with the new student president. So it's going to be a fun thing. I think we'll have him on a lot, and we're going to talk a lot of KSU, because KSU is part of Frankfort, and Frankfort needs to be a part of KSU.
Yeah, and Frankfort is better with a vibrant Kentucky State University, and Kentucky State University is better with a vibrant Frankfort, and those two have to coalesce. They have to coalesce at this point. So if this means anything to you, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it. I am joined every single day at 5 p.m. with my friend Craig Blanton. I am Kyle Thompson. Thanks for joining us for Apex News Above the Noise. We will see you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. See you guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.